Hello everyone. That's not a sombrero on my head. It's an umbrella. I am beaming live. Well, not live. I'm beaming to you from Spain. I'm just here for a couple of days, and if I'm a bit hush-toned, it's because there's balconies everywhere and I don't want people to hear me. So, yeah, unfiltered. Hit the subscribe button, guys, and the notification bell. Then you can always be told when we're going live and what we're up to. So, loads of people have been asking me recently, and I think this is because I've put up a couple of clips of me and Eastenders. Actually, we might drop some in here. So, loads of people have been asking me recently, so how did you get Eastenders and what was it like? And I haven't had those questions for bloody years. So I keep saying to people, okay, I'll do a video on my unfiltered playlist. So here we are. So, how old was I? Oh, God knows, I've got no idea. I was probably about late 20s, early 30s. And I'd been doing a lot of sort of fringe theatre and like bits and pieces of telly, and I'd done a sitcom for TV, and I was totally broke, and because I hadn't had any acting jobs for a while, and I was literally at the point where I was like walking along the road, kicking around looking for coins to buy a potato, to have a jacket potato. Proper broke. Didn't want to tell my mum and dad I was broke. Loved acting, but Jesus Christ, it is like not an easy job. And you know, I was like thinking, oh my God, I've got to do something with my life. I've got to be able to buy a house at some point. I've got to be able to, you know, and it's all very well doing this like job in theatre stuff, and I love it, but I need like a proper job. So I went to my agent and I went, I need like a job. So naive. I need like a job where I can earn money every month, but an acting job like something like Eastenders. And my agent said, oh, well, there have been a couple of times when they've called you for an audition. I was like, well, what's happening? He goes, no, it hasn't been right. They've just been little parts, and then once you've got a little part, you know, then you're not going to get a big part in it, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so he said, but you know, I'll definitely keep my eyes and ears open. Anyway, I then went away on a job. I think it was like some like profit share, which basically you do a theatre job, you go on a tour, and what happens at the end of it is you just share the profit, of which there is never any profit. So it was one of them. And the whole time I was thinking, it was my first time I was ever visualising. I was thinking, just for a year, I need a job on telly where money is coming in regularly. See yourself there. See yourself like in Eastenders, because I was a big Eastenders fan, and you're just like, and you know, visualise it. You're like, you know, you're walking in, you're going to wardrobe, you're getting your costume, you're going into makeup, and keep visualising it. Anyway, I kid you not, about 6 weeks after I'd first gone into my agent, and you know, I'd really been grafting for years with no money as an actress. You know, it's not like I went, oh, I want to be in EastEnders, and then it all happened. It wasn't. I'd been grafting for years. And I'd done bits and pieces in movies and stuff, but nothing like... Anyway, my agent calls me, goes, you're not going to believe this. I said, what? He goes, you've only been called for an audition for a main new part in EastEnders. I was like, I mean, literally, I couldn't believe it. Anyway, so I went, and I had to have, first of all, an initial just like interview, which was terrifying. It was like up at you know, the big Elstree Studios, and I was interviewed by like the executive producers, and the producer, was quite a few people in there, and they just like were just asking me everything about my life. And they were saying things like, you know, to be in Eastenders, do you understand what the fame is like? You know, have you got any idea what it's like? I said, oh, well, you know, my family are all actors. You know, I've seen a lot of what it's like to be, you know, well known. No. To be in a soap is something totally different. And at that time, it was like 20 million viewers on EastEnders. And they said, you know, you will be shot in this close, so you're this close up. Everything that you do, everything that you film for the first, like, 6 months, a lot of it you'll be in close up. You'll have exactly the same hairdo because, and I'll never forget this, she said, because the viewer will have to know your face as well as their own family. So they said it's a different kind of attention, it's a different kind of fame, and, you know, it's very intense. And at that time, I was thinking I quite wanted to be famous. I mean, I wanted to act, but I quite wanted to be famous in like a bit of a shallow way, really. Oh, God, that changed. It is not what it's cracked up to be, trust me. Anyway, so I said, yeah, you know, God, yeah, I'll be totally fine with that. Oh, yeah, I can cope with that. Come from an acting family, all of this sort of stuff. Anyway, so then I went away and it was like, oh, God, will I get a call back? Will I get a call back to actually, like, read? And I did. I got a call back. So that was so exciting. It's like, okay, through the first bit, now I've got to do the actual acting. And they gave me this piece. Do you know what? I can't even remember what it was now. I cannot remember what it was. I was having a go at somebody because my character, the character I was up for, was a character called Annie Palmer, and she was a bit of a gangster, and she was going to have the club in on the square, and, you know, her dad had been a bit of a ducker and diver. Her dad was Peggy's boyfriend, and yeah, so the piece that I was given, I had to like just be like into camera, just like fully having a go at someone, like, you what, and I say, and you didn't, and you what. Anyway, so I arrive at the studios, and I thought I'd just be going into a rehearsal room or something. But oh my God, I was taken onto the set and I had to do my audition piece in Pat Butcher's sitting room. Oh my God, I mean, how intimidating if you're already an EastEnders bloody fan and then suddenly you're in Pat Butcher's sitting room. She wasn't there, obviously. And so I had to do this whole thing, not into camera actually, I had to do my whole audition piece to a chair. And I was so struck by how tiny the Pat Butcher studio sitting room was. It was like tiny. Anyway, did the audition piece, and then they said, oh, try it this way, try it that way. So I think I did it 2 or 3 times. And they went, oh, thank you very much, goodbye. And off I had. And of course, like, it always used to happen to me when I went for auditions for anything. I would come out of wherever it was and I'd be going, oh my God. You know, like really cringing. Just like, oh my God, you were just shit. Oh my God, oh my God. And I always walk in the wrong direction, or I step into the road and nearly get run over. My brain's all over the place. And I was totally like that. I thought, well, that was absolutely rubbish. I won't be working at EastEnders. That's that. Anyway, by the time I got back to the house, I was like, no, don't think like this. Visualise. And I did the whole visualising thing again. And you're walking in, you're da-da-da, ba-ba-ba-ba. You're walking into your dressing room. You're saying hi to the wardrobe people. You're going into makeup. Anyway, so didn't hear from them for like 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days. And about the 5th or 6th day, I got a phone call from my agent. I was shitting myself. And he said, well, I'm really sorry, Nadia, but I have got bad news. I was like, oh, God, I felt so devastated. He goes, yep, I'm afraid you have been tied into a contract for a year and you will not be able to do any other work apart from EastEnders as Annie Palmer. I was like, what? Oh, my God. The absolute fucking joy was insane. It was insane. It was like, yeah, it just meant so much. And it was just like, I didn't realise like how low I was and how much I needed that sort of validation. It's silly, isn't it? Because I still could have been a totally shit actress. Doesn't mean you're a good actress if you get the part. But yeah. And I got the part and they told me how much it was. How much was it? I'm trying to remember now. God, I literally cannot remember, but it was like silly money. It was absolutely silly money. And in those days, I don't know what it's like now, but you would do your part, and then when it was, if you were in an episode and then it was repeated on the Sunday, you'd get 90% of your fee again. You know, and you think I'd come from a starving, penniless theatre background. I was like, oh my God. So, yeah, I mean, it was just crazy joyful. And it was funny. When I told my dad, and this has always been a bit of a disappointment for me, yeah, actually now when I think about it, because I was so excited to tell my dad, my mum and dad, and my dad went, this is great news, but don't stay too long. And I was like, oh my God. But now, in retrospect, I know what he meant. What he meant was, this is good, but don't make this your whole life. You know, but I think he could have waited a bit, to be honest. It was a bit of a downer. It's like I thought he was going to be so happy and so proud of me. He was like, oh, this is good, but don't stay too long. Yeah, that was the kind of limit of the celebration from my dad. I'm sure my mum would have gone mad and she would have popped open a bottle of champagne and all of that. So it was like a huge deal. It was a huge deal. And then, of course, what happens, and this is what happens to so many actors, you get the part and then you go into this, like, crash of low self-esteem, like, what if they realise they've made a mistake? What if they realise that actually I'm shit? What if somebody else comes along and has a look at the audition tape and then they phone you? I was honestly having nightmares like this. And then they phone up and go, I'm really sorry, there's been a terrible mistake. We can't offer the part. Obviously we can't. It's a mistake. There was actually somebody else that we wanted to give the spot to. But that didn't happen. And yeah, I ended up with what I had visualised and prayed and hoped for, which was a part in a soap. I wanted regular money. I wanted to get on my feet. I wanted to stop kicking around for coins so I could buy a potato. And and it was in the soap that I had absolutely loved. I mean, me and my sisters and my mum, we were like mad soap fans, like proper sit down all together, get a big bar of Cadbury's when we were watching Coronation Street, sit together and watch it. And here I was, about to go into Eastenders, and not just for like a little part. I remember it was like a year's contract with a year's option, which means that basically they want you for the second year, but they both, so I and the BBC would have the option to not pick up the second year. But like at that time, like the thought that a year's work where you get paid every week, I mean, it was just insane. It was just so exciting. And my agent at the time had a couple of people that were already in Eastenders, so it was like, you know, for him it was brilliant. For me, I had like people that I had like information that I could get, because it really is. I can't tell you how terrifying it is when you get a job. For anyone that might be a new actor here, you're like, oh my God, I've got a job, and they go, oh fuck, I've got a job. I mean, I remember every job I ever had as an actor, I'd be like, after the first day, I'd be like phoning my mum or phoning my sister, go, I know they regret me. I can just feel it. They regret me. But yeah, really, really incredible. And so then it was all about my first day on the set, which was absolutely petrifying. But actually no, because my first day wasn't on the set. That's right, my very first day I was filming in a boxing ring, so I was kind of lucky because I was on location, so I didn't have to see all the big hitters and like be intimidated by them all, because they were all very intimidating, I will say. And so my very first day, I had to go into a gym where there was a boxing ring, because I was this gangster gal, and I think I had a boxer. Did I own a boxer? I don't know, I can't remember. But any mad, crazy Eastenders fans will be able to fill that in for me. So that was it. I was in. I've got the part. And maybe I'll do another episode. If you like this enough with me telling you about it, maybe I'll do another episode of this where I tell you what it was like once I was there. Would you like that? Glad you're unfiltered. Just tell me in the comments below. And yeah, so that was me, Annie Palmer. And I was there for almost 2.5 years, I think. So an awful lot happened when I was there, let's put it that way. Yeah. So, guys, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell.